Hello everyone, Courtney Gruenhole is back here, otherwise known as the Awkward Author. It's not really what I'm known as though, but I kind of feel like that's kind of my new title. Most people who know me online know me as There's the Girl. It's my moniker. It's been my moniker for a while, being a fan of it's taken from one of my favorite Heartsongs. So, speaking of Heartsong, that is the series of books that I've written. It's a series. I call it the Heartsong Saga, just because, there's like the Twilight Saga and, all sorts of other sagas out there. There's like the Doppelganger Saga from V.C. Andrews. Saga just sounds nicer than series. So, again, speaking of Heartsongs, the Heartsong Saga is my book series that I am trying to continually write, but being a full-time mom now is pretty much job number one. Writing is job number two. Vlogging, like I am now, is like job number three. And they're kind of more like hobbies instead of jobs. But that's how most writers start. It starts as a hobby and they turn it into something different. Now, I am not with any big publishing company. I self-publish these books. They're not independently published by any kind of independent bookseller or book publishing company. They're self-published. I started it with CreateSpace, but CreateSpace got merged with Amazon. They bought it, and now most people know it as Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing. But you can do paperback books. So they don't do hardback books, they do Kindles, and they do paperbacks. So, and you can get yourself an author copy, of course, to give to other people. Now, being a mom, my husband goes and earns the money. So it is our money together that we use to take care of ourselves and our child. So if it were up to me, if I had a lot of money, I'd buy copies of my books for everyone that I know. And if I had enough money, I would buy copies and send them to people that I would like to read my book and review it. So that's what any author wants, to be published, have people read their books. And I'm not very good at taking criticism, but I will take it if I have to. Again, that's what you get for being a writer. So, I'm going to try to go kind of back over my books again, one by one, and kind of give kind of a refresher or a recap to anybody who sees this video. So I started writing my Heartsong books saga series back in 2003. I started writing it. My actual first draft got kind of messed up, so I just started again, and that was more around 2004. That is also when I first got in a relationship with my husband, who at the time was my boyfriend, so it kind of helped me write the story. It is mostly romance. It is, when you think of romance novels, I would always think of like the ones with Fabio on the cover, where a guy is like on the cover with like half a shirt or no shirt, and it's like big and muscly, and the woman's got like, big thrusted breast, and it's, bodice rippers. That's kind of what I thought romance was, but there's all different kinds of genres and subgenres of romance. Now there's like the really erotic romance, there's paranormal romance, there's romance for teens, there's romance for adults, so not overtly sexual, not maybe a little cheesy romantic, but not, a whole platter of brie in front of you. So it's not that cheesy, but because I tried to be a horror writer, it didn't turn out right. I can incorporate some horror, supernatural, paranormal elements into my stories, but writing full on horror like Stephen King, I was just never really good at being, full on horror, very like visceral, in your face kind of horror. Now, I don't really know, because when I read over my own stuff, it doesn't seem like the elements are too out there, but that's me reading it. So if somebody else read it and is like, boy, you kind of went a little dark there. Well, I didn't think it was very dark at the time, but say so. But so I started writing these stories back in like 2004, and I finished them, and I tried to get them published. Trying to get a book published does require a lot of time and money. To send it out to a publishing company, you need to have plenty of paper, because they'll need you to send them your book spaced a certain way, a certain amount of words. You send it to them, somebody reads over it, they'll send it back to you, be like, we're not interested, or they're like, can you change something, can you change this, can you change that, whole bunch of red marks, like when you would turn in papers in English class or creative writing class in high school or middle school. Write a first draft, a rough draft, write a second draft, and then you're good to go. So I've never had a lot of money to, buy a bunch of paper to write the story at like 10 different copies to send it to like all these different publishing people, and and then also have the fear of being rejected. So time went by for a long time, and then I noticed that I would find books on like Goodreads and stuff and see that they were like published by these places that weren't like any kind of publisher that I'd ever sent any of my books to. So that's when I found CreateSpace, and I was like, oh, you can get a book published, okay. So I did that with my Heartsong novel, and the first time I sent it, I didn't have page numbers on it because I'd always read it on like a WordPad, so it never had page numbers. So my first copy that I did of it had no page numbers at all. So I am also my own editor as well. And you think me reading through it 15,000 times, I catch grammar, spelling mistakes, and stuff like that. It's very hard to miss them. So, but I had it published in 2018, and I kind of waited like maybe every month after or every other month afterwards to publish new ones, because all my stories have already been written except for new ones that I'm writing. And there are some stories that I plan to maybe release in the future that I tweaked, like my Blood Embrace book, my vampire book, which is what I'm going to call it because it is about vampires. It came from like 3 different vampire stories that I wrote, and I kind of, combined them all together into one story and tweaked that before I ended up getting it published. So I have 5 books. 4 of them are Heartsong Saga books, and then the 5th one is Blood Embrace, which is a vampire book. So again, kind of giving like a rehash as to how I've gotten into this predicament. So I think my mom has a few copies of my book that she bought on Amazon. I don't think anybody else has a copy of it, although my first Heartsong novel that I had, the one that didn't have page numbers, I gave it to my friend Kindle to, just kind of read. I never found out whether she read it or not, but her being a single mom with her own child and working to support her child, I'll give it a grain of salt if she hadn't read it. So I have my books stacked here on the table next to me, and like I said, I'm going to try to go through each one and kind of maybe go over it a little bit more, but this video, of course, is just kind of a rehash of how we got here. So the first one is Heartsong. So this is a different edition of it. It's where I sent it back in with actual page numbers. I don't think I tweaked anything else. to it. But so, because I first got these published in 2018, but this was printed in Columbia, South Carolina, March 19th of 2019. So it's different. It's much more better. Kind of a little hard to read in the back. My first edition had this kind of more abstract cover, and it was like pink and stuff to kind of look like the muscles of a heart, but I had it more pink instead of red because, you know, kind of like, oh, first love, crush, so it was more pink than red. So, but I got it changed because I wanted to use more kind of music-related images, and every time I tried to make my own cover, it wouldn't take the image that I wanted, so that's why I ended up with this abstract cover, until I eventually just found one. So I found a man playing a guitar, wraps all the way around the back. So I just kind of made it like it was my main male character playing the guitar, because he is a guitarist, because Heartsong, it's about a guitarist and a lead singer in a band. They're, you know, the main couple of my story. So this was the reprint second edition of it. So if you ever want to find it on Amazon, I would recommend getting this one. The one with the pink kind of abstract cover has no page numbers because it's now just into the system because it's print to order. So this is the first one. Pretty thick. So the second edition, so the second book in the series actually is called Reprise, a Heartsong novel. So, and this has that abstract cover that I was talking about. So kind of didn't want it to be like all these other ones where they have like just like one object, you know, like the Twilight ones. There's an apple, flower, you know, chess piece, ribbon. I've seen books like with a shoe for like a Cinderella story kind of thing. So, but it's kind of supposed to be more kind of like blood splatter, because this is where I start incorporating supernatural kind of paranormal elements into the story. Because as the story progresses, in the first book, there is magic involved, and in the second one, there's still even more magic, and then we get a little bit of vampires in this one. So a little bit of paranormal elements, and you know, on the back, I'll go into more detail of these books, but just to give you a rundown. So this is the second one. The third book is called Heartsong Rebirth. And what I wanted, which is if you get the Kindle edition of it, it has a sunset on it. And but it could also look like a sunrise. So like sunrise, sunset, the sun rises on something, it sets on something, but every day the sun rises, every day the sun sets. So kind of like a rebirth. So print on the back. So I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get my little sunrise sunset analogy thing going on here. So it's about as close to like a sunrise sunset color as I could find. So, and that's the third one. The fourth one is actually more of a prequel novel to Heartsong, and it's a Heartsong novel, Star-Crossed. You know, the print on the back's a little dark too, and you know, star-crossed, so I wanted a starscape. Made me kind of mad when I got to the Kindle one. It let me use white writing, which is what I wanted to make it stand out more. But so this is the prequel novel to my Heartsong books. And then the last one is a standalone book. I plan to maybe release some more standalone books, and it depends how they go with writing them. I have one other book that might be kind of like this one, where it's a little more adult. I actually have this descripted as kind of more like, you know, an adult erotic kind of novel, because it's just how it turned out as I started to combine these stories together. So it's Blood Embrace, It's actually Blood Embraced a Vampire Saga. So, like I said, it's 3 vampire stories that I wrote kind of combined together, and the way it just turned out more adult than what I wrote in my Heartsong books. So, and the layout that I got for this one actually made me have to actually put an image of myself. So I just went through pictures that I could find of myself and tried to find something that looked like it could be on the back of a book. So all my other ones are kind of, as you notice, they're kind of more dull. But I just thought this one would look better, kind of shiny. Shiny and, red. So, and I'm glad they let me use the image that I actually wanted. So, and I also hated that I had to use a different kind of font for my name. That's a different font from the title of my book. So, but still. So out of all of these, this one and Heartsong, the actual covers and layouts are my favorites. So these are the 5 books that I have published. And like I said, you can find them on Amazon, and you can find them as Kindle books, or you can get paperback copies. The prices of them vary on the paperbacks because of the kind of font, cover that I use, matte finish, shiny finish. It just all depends. So the prices on the paperbacks are different, but all the Kindle ones are $2.99. So I don't know how they've turned out in Kindle. I like having my physical copies of my book so that I can make the videos and actually be like, here's my book, instead of handing you my Kindle and being like, look, there's my book on this Kindle. So it's much easier to talk about the books when I have them in my hands. So, but those are my 5 books. The easiest way to find them is to get on Amazon, enter Courtney Gruenholz underneath books, and my books should pop up. So if you're willing to spend a lot of money, then buy yourself a paperback copy. If $2.99 is more your speed and you're just more used to reading books on your Kindle on the go, there you go, $2.99. And I have lofty ambitions that I know probably will never come to fruition, but if I was able to get audiobooks at least made, because that's how some people do things nowadays, they just listen to audiobooks. So, but we'll try to cross that bridge when we come to it. So, I think that I've rambled on enough today, because we're going to be rambling on about, my books in the future, and then maybe a couple of other videos about other things. I know one thing, they've, been releasing the trailers for Netflix putting out 3 Fear Street movies. So 3 movies, 1 big giant story. So I'm kind of wanting to talk about those. I've seen the trailers and I've already got opinions. Maybe we should just wait until the movies come out before I voice my complete opinions. Being a Fear Street reader, we'll have much to talk about. There's always stuff to talk about. So, again, in the description, I've got links. You can follow me, subscribe to me, email me, send me questions. I'm easy. I'm open to anything. Just let me know. If you got questions, you want to know about opinions on anything, movies, music, books, feel free. And maybe I'll become a little less awkward in the future. But until I see you again, I hope you have a nice day, a nice weekend. I'm Courtney Gruenholz. I'll talk to you later.